Welcome to a new weekly feature here at 2 Peas in a Bucket called From Start to Finish. Each week I will be sharing a layout with you from start to finish. This week's layout features using the KI Memories pockets, specifically the 5x10 pockets. So you can see here I printed a little tag. This one is from October afternoon. I printed on it, and how I do that is I take a sticker, I cut it out, the backing paper and the sticker both. Then I print my journaling on a piece of white printer paper, and then I adhere the backing paper over it. You can see through that backing paper, so you can kind of position it correctly and make sure that the computer printing is going to print exactly where you want it. Adhere that backing paper, adhere your sticker, and run it through your printer, and you should have a perfectly printed tag. So I just took a cute little paper clip that is adorned with a button, also from KI Memories, and attached that tag or the sticker to the front flap of my envelope pocket. Here you can see the great adhesive on the back of the pocket. It is super sturdy and strong and big. It's not like a couple little strips of tape, so it's very easy to adhere that directly to your page. I've already pre-cut quite a few things for my page and laid them out to make sure I kind of liked how that looked, but we'll see how that progresses as we go along here. So I'm just adhering that along the bottom of this calendar page, which has a green border and has some green machine stitching. It is also from KI Memories. And then I'm just adhering that whole thing on a piece of red American Crafts cardstock. Then I'm going to use my Tim Holtz scissors, and to get a nice clean cut, I get asked that a lot. You want to hold the scissors so that the label that says Tim Holtz is facing you. Otherwise, you'll get kind of a serrated edge to your cuts. So I have pre-punched a couple of borders from some Doodlebug petite print papers. And this is from a ladybug paper, and I love that the Doodlebug products coordinate so well with the KI Memories product. So here I'm just snipping the ends at an angle, and then when you punch, especially with these Fiskars punches, you punch out the border, but it also will leave a nice little thin strip after you punch across the edge of your page, and I like to go ahead and use that. Kind of uses up your scraps and gives you a nice straight, really thin strip of paper that's fun for using as an accent. I'm going to add some adhesive to my punched piece, and with these Doodlebug petite print papers, there's one design on one side and then another design on the other. So one side is a tad bit darker than the other. So I'm going to just go ahead and use the opposite print right on top of the punched one. So it gives it a tone-on-tone effect, but with a little bit darker contrast. So I cut that one end at an angle, and I'm going to adhere that right along the top of my punched border. Then I'll take my scissors and trim that other end at an angle as well. So now I'm ready to adhere this strip along the top of my page. And this is actually from a sheet of Bella Boulevard cut apart accents. I had originally planned to use this Hero Arts Row of Houses stamp, but I just couldn't make it work with the layout. It would have been fine. I'm just using so few colors in my layout. I felt like I really needed a pop of color. You can see here I stamped it in several different colors, trying to find a color that I thought would work, and I had kind of thought I might go with the yellow, but when I saw this this border with this row of houses, it was just perfect. It really adds a nice, like I said, pop of color for the layout when there is so much green and red represented. I think this kind of helps break it up and really gives it a fun and whimsical touch, and helps break up that overpowering Christmassy color as well. So I just trimmed that border directly from the paper and adhered it along the top border of my page. And this card is one my daughter made for me a couple years ago, and you can see she spelled Mary wrong. She spelled it like getting married, and it's just one of those things I love. She drew baby Jesus on the front and stuff, so I'm including it with these cards that I have to put in this pocket as well. I'm adding another punched border here, and I do have an album for all the photo cards we get from friends and family. I cut them apart and create a scrapbook with them. These are some of those cards, like the hand stamped and handmade cards that you get that you just can't cut apart. I needed somewhere to put them, and so this is the idea I came up with. I think these pockets are perfect for including memorabilia like that. I did die cut my title, and I am not going to share the step-by-step on how to do that, just because you could use anything that you want. I happen to use the Silhouette and some Silhouette download die cuts from their online store that I will include in the product listing on Two Peas in a Bucket. But you could just as easily use stickers or rub-ons or any other kind of stamps or title work that you want to use. So here I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive to my cardstock, and then I'll adhere that calendar directly to that. And the reason I did that was I just need it to kind of hold in place until I machine stitch it to the background. I'm going to take this 1.5 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to use some scraps from where I die cut the word friends from this green Petite Prince Doodlebug paper, and just punch a half circle from that scrap. And I'm going to make little tabs there along the little row of houses border. It just kind of finishes it off and gives it a fun look. This is one of my favorite ideas for finishing a strip of paper like this. So I just made a couple of those, adhere those along that row of houses strip. And then I'm going to, I added another punched circle accent from the Bella Boulevard paper using a 1 3/4 inch punch. And I just punched it directly from the paper. Sorry, I thought I was recording that, and I wasn't. And then I punched a couple of additional circles from some more of the Doodlebug Petite Prince papers, and I'm just going to layer those together. And I punched an additional one from a green paper and added some white stickers to it with the date or the year that these cards came. This is the paper piercing tool from Tim Holtz, and I love it because it's retractable, which is great for me because I leave things out a lot, and that way I don't worry so much that I'm going to poke myself with it, because I just, like I said, it retracts, so that way I don't have to worry about a cap to put on it or anything like that. So I'm piercing a couple of holes in the little round tabs there along that strip, and I'm going to add some brads to those. And these are just some brads from my stash that I thought were cute and went well with the theme of the page. And you can see the machine stitching along the bottom there and also along those top strips. Just adds a little fun and a little touch to that. Another week I think I'm going to cover the machine stitching, especially I know a lot of you know how to do it, but I've had some questions, so I'm going to hopefully be able to cover that and show you how I machine stitch on my pages. So I'm going to layer that one circle on the other and offset it a little bit just for a fun touch. And then I'm going to take some brown ink and then this stamp from a Technique Tuesday Allie Edwards stamp set, and it's a Christmas themed stamp set. And I'm going to take the brown ink and ink that stamp up real good and stamp it right in the middle of that red pattern paper circle. Just adds a nice little accent for the page, because this page doesn't have very much journaling or anything like that. Then I machine stitched around the smaller circle about 3 times, kind of a random stitch. Then I'm going to adhere that to my page, kind of overlap those two circles on the left to create a visual triangle with the punched circle that says December 25th. I'm going to tuck my cards back in the pocket. And I also decided to add a little brad to the bottom of that circle just to dress it up just a little bit more. And I'm going to pop it out of the way because I have a couple more of the Allie Edwards stamps, and this is from another set that I will link to that's available here at Two Peas in a Bucket. And I'm going to lay them out along the bottom there. I felt like the bottom really needed a little something, a little text. And this kind of goes in line with my year-long free class here at Two Peas in a Bucket that started on the 1st of January, where you add text to your pages with stamping. You could just as easily use rub-ons or stickers or anything like that. But I stamped the smaller phrase with some brown ink, and then the cursive word I'm going to stamp first in red ink and then clean it off, and then I'm going to stamp it in yellow. And it just kind of dresses it up and makes it a little bit more visually interesting to stamp in some colored inks. And then I'm going to stamp it in brown again. Just have it repeating there a couple times along the bottom of the page. And there you can see it a little bit closer. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my circle back, and the page is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this first class, or lesson I should say, from start to finish. See you next week. Thanks for watching.